This is the story of HarPURR, a small kitten with a disability who came into my life in the gentlest way, and in a quiet, almost unspoken manner, he stayed, becoming a memory I know I will never forget. He was never going to be able to walk. That was clear from the very beginning. Whatever had happened, likely during birth or shortly after, left his tiny body unable to move the way it should. But what he lacked physically, he made up for with something far more powerful, an unbreakable will to live. HarPURR entered this world under difficult circumstances. He was found in Alaska at around 3 weeks old by a kind stranger. So small, so fragile, already facing challenges most animals would never have to endure. When he was brought to a nonprofit rescue dedicated to special needs animals, his real journey began. He received immediate medical care, but the damage couldn't be undone. Walking would never be part of his life. What stood out wasn't what he couldn't do, but everything he still chose to do. There was a spark in him, a kind of energy that refused to fade. He was curious, joyful, and full of life. Instead of accepting limitations, he adapted. To help him move, a small mobility cart was introduced, but not all at once. The process was slow, gentle, and patient. First came the harness, then the cart, each step paired with reassurance and safety. The goal was never to force him, never to create fear. Every moment was about building trust, helping him feel comfortable, even happy with this new way of moving. And then something remarkable happened. Within a week, HarPURR seemed to understand. It was as if something clicked. From that moment on, he didn't just use the cart, he owned it. He zipped across the room, climbed, pounced, explored with a joy that couldn't be hidden. His world opened up again, not because his body changed, but because his spirit never gave up. Of course, that kind of energy came with its own challenges. He would launch himself off things without hesitation, so soft bedding had to be placed everywhere to keep him safe. Watching him was both incredible and nerve-wracking. He moved like a tiny storm, strong, unpredictable, and alive. A feisty little tornado of love, just as he was lovingly described. But beneath all that energy was something incredibly gentle. HarPURR was deeply affectionate and loyal. He knew how to bond, how to trust, how to lean into the care he was given. He required a special diet, medications, and supplements. Because he couldn't control his bladder or bowels, he needed help something that could be uncomfortable. But he allowed it. He trusted the hands that cared for him. In his early years, he wasn't alone. A husky named Cinder helped raise him, offering warmth and companionship. They spent 4 years side by side, building a quiet but strong connection. When Cinder passed away in October 2023, the loss was deeply felt. The home changed. Her absence was heavy, undeniable.
Hi, Sin Sin. Hi, Mama Bear. Here we come.
And HarPURR felt it too. Without Cinder, he grew even closer to the one who had always cared for him. That bond deepened not just through loss, but through understanding. He knew where safety lived. He knew where love was. And he chose to stay close to it. There's something powerful about a bond like that. It doesn't need words or explanations. It lives in the small, everyday moments, in trust, in presence, in simply being there for one another. Because the truth is, no one knows what tomorrow will bring.
Where did you go? Oh my goodness, you're climbing!
HarPURR's story is a quiet reminder of something simple yet often forgotten. Love shouldn't be delayed. The ones we care about, human or animal, deserve to feel that love today, not someday. Not when it's convenient. But now,
My sweet baby. It's so cool.
and for anyone thinking about bringing an animal into their life, remember this: it's not just an emotional decision, it's a lifelong commitment. Take the time to understand their needs. Be prepared for the challenges. Make sure you can offer a safe, stable environment. Because when you give patience and love, what you receive in return can become something deeply meaningful, something that changes you. Looking back on the journey, it all began with a fragile life that almost didn't have a chance, a body that couldn't walk. But day by day, through care, patience, and love, he found his own way to live. And in the process, those around him learned to slow down, to listen more, and to appreciate the simplest things. Nothing about it was loud or dramatic, just small moments adding up over time. And somehow, those moments became a deep connection, quietly changing everything. And somewhere along that journey, he stopped being just a rescue case and became something much more, not defined by what he had been through, but by how he chose to live each day after. The quiet moments, the small victories, and the trust he gave so freely became what mattered most. He didn't need to be fully healed to be whole. In his own way, he already was. And maybe that's why his story stays with people. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Because it reminds us that strength doesn't always look the way we expect, and love doesn't have to be loud to last. It shows up quietly, and if you're paying attention, it can change everything.